to the 725 podcast. My name is Miriam. We are here in the city of Las Vegas with Faraon, Cesar, and Tony.
Welcome back, guys, to the 725 podcast. Today, we're going to be having a special episode. We're going to be talking about how we all started on this whole project that we're all included on. Right here to my right, we have Miriam.
Hi, guys.
To the right of Miriam, we have Caesar.
Hello.
And to the right of Caesar, we have Farah.
Hey guys, how you doing, man? Welcome back to another episode.
How you guys doing today, bro?
I am doing really, really great. How's everybody doing?
Good. I'm excited to let everybody know about our journey. It hasn't been easy, and we're still work in progress, but it's fun. I've enjoyed every moment of it, and I can't wait to show our viewers, the perspectives that we've been working with.
All right, you guys got to understand. I mean, like, if you guys hear Miriam's voice a little weird, and she's a little bit under the influence. But, we wanted to do this episode, guys, because we have a few episodes already uploaded in our channel, and they pretty much been all of our interviews, and we really haven't had the chance to introduce ourselves or to talk about how we actually got to this point. Because we've been recording for a little while now, a couple of months, and we've been growing as we go, and then all of us together, we put, this project, and we didn't get the chance to introduce. So today we're going to introduce ourselves and talk about how this podcast came about. Right, Cesar?
Yes. It's like Miriam was saying, like it's been a journey because at the beginning of the of starting the podcast, it was a lot of, discovering what kind of cameras, lenses, cables, of course. We went from just putting the roadcaster and recording from the caster and then just putting two cameras on the side and then just extracting the video from the cameras and then matching it with the audio from the caster. And that would all happen, everything is doing like in-house. So we're just, everybody's learning as we go. I mean, of course, some of us are a little bit more experienced than others, but of course, growing all together, and then everybody's putting their input into it. So this is what we happen to call the 725 podcast. But I do want to give us a little bit of perspective because Faraon and I, individually, both of us wanted to start a podcast, ages ago. He started with equipment, and he started his own journey. And I'll let you explain a little bit of what you were doing before actually coming us together. You were doing something, right?
Yeah. Well, the same thing. I got together with a friend of mine. We started a podcast called No Sé. It's a good friend of mine from Venezuela, and then we were interviewing like our family members and stuff like that. We did a lot of videos, guys. We recorded a lot of videos, but we never edited one of them or uploaded. We were just recording and pretty much having fun with it, having a few drinks. But I mean, like he said, we're still learning. This is actually our second intento to record our intro. We actually recorded one and we uploaded it, and we came to realize that we made a mistake on the audio. We were actually recording with the microphones from the cameras instead of our caster.
And you were missing the producer. they forgot about me.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, we'll get to that in a minute. The point here is that the project individually was already in our minds, which is, well, in my personal opinion, I was already doing a podcast, and I was doing a audio only podcast. And of course, I mentioned this in the past, it's like when you're doing an audio only and then you're doing it by yourself, there's only so many things that you can talk about. And then there's so many time, like there's such a period of time that you can talk without getting repetitive or without getting bored. So I just kind of let that go. And then now we jump a little fast forward to the producer Miriam here. She told me that she has a friend, that it's been wanting to do a podcast and it just didn't click or hasn't found or has recorded, all that stuff. And we kind of scheduled we got together at a bar and then we started talking, and that's when Faraon and I sat down for the first time, because we met each other in the past, but we never really sat down and actually talk about.
We hung out a few times, had a few drinks, but we never talked about actually starting a podcast. So So when I saw them doing the podcast, I think it was at Miriam's house. I reached out and wanted us to get together. And I think our very first episode was you interviewing me, right?
Yeah.
And I think I talked about my professional life and then the things that I was doing, and it was more of a practice run, right?
Yeah.
And then after that's when we invited Tony. Tony was our first official guest.
First official guest.
But everything pretty much just clicked in right, and here we are, man. Tony, tell us your story about coming to the podcast.
Well, it all started through Miriam as well. I saw her posting a video of you guys recording, and then I was like, hey, you know what? Like, would you guys mind if I come through or whatnot? And then so that was the first day that I was gonna be the guest, and then from right there, like I've always wanted to do this, so I was like, hey, you guys mind if I jump on board with you guys on this? And here we are.
Yeah, I think it was like one of those things that Tony was our actual first guest on the podcast, but the conversation clicked very well, and then
it was actually a good episode. It was maybe one day we'll release it, guys, because we had no set. When we did that interview, we literally had a green screen and a black sheet behind us, and we weren't prepared like the way we are now. But it was actually a very good conversation. So, maybe we'll post it out there one of these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I still have some kind of pictures that I took. I have them on my phone where, there was the set and then nothing hanged, no decoration, nothing like that. It was just the couches and the microphone, and that's it. And then I have more pictures of how, everything started kind of coming together. So maybe we'll do a little TikTok of the progress or put them on social media.
A lot of that journey I have on my Instagram's highlights, actually. If you guys, I don't know if you ever paid attention to that, but a lot of that stuff is on there. So you'll see the progress.
Yeah.
I think you have that one video, the speedy when we're right here, like moving everything around.
Yes.
Time lapse.
Yep, time lapse. I do a lot of time lapses. Yep.
Yeah. And basically, Miriam, her and I were talking about starting a podcast, which we did, and actually we recorded a few episodes, and they're ready to go and everything. But life happened, things happened that that project is just kind of there. It never really took off. We really never uploaded anything. Personal stuff happened, and that just kind of deviated, right? But I think it was a good thing because it kind of gave us time to concentrate on this project to kind of, water it more, and then of course put a little bit more time and effort into it. And now this is going to be, out of all the episodes that we have recorded, we already have a few uploaded. We're going to link all of them on the description so you guys can give it a listen. But technically, she was the bridge for kind of all this to happen, And then
that was the glue, guys. That was definitely the glue.
It was the plug.
Yeah, she was the plug. And now, we're learning in a separate way. She has never really been into anything that has to do with podcasts, but she had the knowledge with the camera equipment because she started as a photographer. So so she had the camera equipment, lenses, and everything, and then I had my camera, and then we just kind of started putting all the equipment together to now use it for the podcast. And I would like to get her perspective into how her journey with us and what she thinks about the podcast and kind of her side of the story. So, Miriam, if you can give us a little bit of your perspective on the whole podcast situation.
So for me, it kind of lined up. I was actually working a part-time job at a lingerie store, and I handled everything with retail, models, styling, and photographers would come in, and I would see how they would just go in and out, and I was doing all this hard labor, and I was like, wow, being a photographer seems so easy, So Caesar was actually in my life at the time, and he, had some knowledge and background of, camera equipment and stuff like that. And along that, in my own research, I started, discovering lenses and how to use all the equipment and stuff. And I think I worked about 3 to 4 years to acquire most of my equipment that I currently have at this time. And Farah, I've known Farah since I was 14, 15 years old. Tony, Tony's my brother from another mother, you know. And this all kind of came about to where, you know, we were recording at the house like you mentioned, and it came in hand collectively. We make a very strong team as far as what we bring to the table with equipment, you know, the energy and everything. And I feel like this is something very powerful that, you know, we can look forward to a future with, because the way that Farah, you're willing to put into this, your knowledge, you know what I mean? Tony, you're always, you know, available, and we're both growing, you know, as far as our on camera. I'm not too used to being on camera, but it's I think I see a high potential in this, and I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it was, I think I mentioned this, you know, it was a struggle at the beginning with Tony and Faraon, because their camera shyness was really, really, really extremely high. So I think we started recording, not recording, but we started like testing everything, like around
practicing, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, we will jump on this camera and we will freeze, because we're not used to it. You know, we're not used to being on camera. But as we went along, I think we started, you know, liking it. We started having fun with it, and you know, it became you know, like a hobby. It became a hobby, and an expensive hobby, but it became a hobby that we actually enjoy doing. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, definitely it took some time to break the shyness. You helped a lot because you had that experience, so you kind of helped us push us through. I don't know if you guys could tell on the difference, but you know, like he's our host right now.
Yeah.
You know,
So-
Miriam is our producer. You know, and Tony, you know, co-host, me co-host. So you know, we're right here learning. We're still learning. You know.
Yeah.
No, and whatever Caesar doesn't know, like he's up until 1 a.m, like researching until he masters it. Like sometimes we're here and like he'll just be like in the background, like focused, like tunnel vision until he figures out whatever we need to get figured out, you know?
Yeah, and then it's a good thing to have, you know, like the support of the whole crew, because I mean, we all know that we can always get to a certain point by ourselves, you know, but when you have a team, then you can go further, you know, and that's what I really have a lot of faith on this project, because we all kind of put in everything that we have, and then we make it work no matter what, you know, and also. I want Tony to kind of tell the audience, because he clicked on the podcast, right? And then all of a sudden he came to us and he was like, hey, I just bought a camera and I just bought a microphone. So Tony, tell me about like what was going through your mind when you just decided to get your own gear and then all that stuff. Like why all of a sudden you just made the commitment to just buy it, and then, you know, because like Faraon was saying, like it is an expensive hobby, and a camera is not, you know, it's not something that you can buy just because. So explain to the audience a little bit about what was going through your mind when you decided to make that decision.
Well, what was going through my mind, honestly, I just wanted you guys to like basically know that I was into it, that I was my mind was really into this, that I wanted to do this, and for us to grow. And I was like, you know what, like, why not get a fucking camera and
you know, like cover the angle.
why not get a camera and why not get a microphone? Like, you know, put a little. Put some part of what I can get into this project as well. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and it's a good thing, because starting a podcast, you know, I think just blogging itself, you know, like TikTok. Hopefully we don't lose you, but TikTok, you know, blogging, podcast, you know, I think it's the today thing, you know, to do. So, you know, having a podcast for everybody, I think everybody in the world should have their own podcast or should be part of a podcast crew, you know, and then just enjoy talking in the camera and see what can come out of it, you know.
Yeah. Why do you think that everybody should have a podcast? Like what in your mind, like, believes that everybody should have a podcast, in your opinion?
Just to get your word out there, you know, like people used to, you know, do their blogs on the internet, you know, the email stuff, MySpace, Facebook, you know, but I think now the new social media, I think is this podcasting. You know, you get to talk more openly, you get to express yourself more openly, and you get to bring in guests for subjects or stories that you want to hear, you know, and share them out there with the world. I think you share a little bit of yourself out there with your world. A lot of people think you lose privacy, but I mean, like, we're not here talking about our personal issues or our personal
Right.
life. You know, we're just right here expressing personal opinions, you know, and then, you know, sharing it with the world and, you know, just hoping they have the same opinion of us and support, you know, like pretty much.
I think it's many things. I think that social media overall tries to project perfection. And that's not what real life is. And I think on a podcast, you can express yourself either to promote your business, yourself, self-development, but not only that, but like experiences that people have experienced that may help someone else, you know, a viewer or something like that, into depth. You know, it's more raw.
You see, to me, I'm a real estate agent, guys. Just so you know.
plug,
Look for me and let
plug
me-
your business. Talking about
Yeah.
plugging your business, right?
But before
Follow the link.
before the podcast, you know, like this whole advertising real estate or doing, you know, your little channel for your real estate was like the most difficult thing in the world for me. I mean, I was standing in front of a camera and I wanted to talk about anything of real estate, and I will freeze or not know what to say. And now I can actually just go on my phone, hit record, and start.
It's become normalized.
Yeah, it's so normal
Yeah.
now for me to do it that I think the podcast gave me the practice to do it, man. I mean, like everybody should have a podcast. You know, it will just make you better in life, and you know, you'll be able to express yourself in the real world because it's practice. It's actually
Right.
practice.
Absolutely,
you know?
yeah.
Like Tony said, it's therapy.
It's
this
therapy.
is literally therapy.
Yeah. And also, like, you know, how many times have you guys had a conversation with somebody on the outside that, you know, you guys are at a bar or somewhere at a party or whatever, and then you guys have the most interesting conversations, and then, you know, us that we do podcasts, we always go back to like, damn, that should have been a podcast, you
Yo,
know?
yeah.
Because it's just, because like Faraon was saying, you know, it's one of those things that you never know who you're going to meet that's going to have an interesting story, that's going to have something good to say, that is going to teach us something more than
valuable.
anything. Valuable.
Something
And
valuable.
yeah, and you know, things that are there that we can implement to our own lives, you know. And not to kind of give a little bit of spoiler, but we did an interview with the lady not too long ago, and she has a very interesting story that you guys will get to hear. And then those are the conversations that we want to have. Those are the conversations that we want to, you know, give you guys. So, you know, we don't know how many people are going to view this, but the reach that we want to, you know, give you guys and the understanding that whatever it's going through your mind or whatever it's happening to you, like, you guys are not alone. Like, you know, there's always somebody going through the same thing. And then if you can kind of, guys, learn a little bit from that and then nitpick things from all the conversations that we have. And then, of course, the whole purpose here is to, of course, entertain people as well, you know, give them the best that we can give them. We are a very small growing channel, and hopefully we get to do this for a long, long time. Like Faraon was saying, if they don't ban, you know, they don't ban TikTok or whatever. Because honestly, I believe that right now TikTok is very hot. I feel like TikTok it's one of the platforms that you get to grow the most. In my personal opinion, like the content that I put out on TikTok, it's more relatable to like the Instagram, right? I don't get as much viewers on Instagram than TikTok. I believe that TikTok is one of those platforms that everybody can take advantage of. And everybody has something to say, right? Everybody has something to say, and they're too shy to just record and say whatever they want to say because of the what if, you know, what people are going to say about me.
A lot of people are afraid of judgment.
Right.
I think people are afraid of being judged. But at the end of the day, like, just be yourself. I think no matter what, at a job, doing social media, whatever it is, just be yourself. Be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, how about picking the name for the podcast, guys? I mean, like how hard was that for us? I mean,
It
like,
took months.
That had to be one of the hardest things, you know, picking the name. We had probably 7 or 8 episodes in without a name. I think we started just with the welcome to the podcast,
Welcome
guys,
to the
because we had
podcast,
no
yeah.
name. You know, those are episodes also that we probably share
Yeah.
far in the future.
Yeah, I mean, we came out with good names, you know. We came out with good names, but we all did our research, and Faraon did most of the research when it comes to names. And he was like, "Oh, guys, this is already taken."
We
Or-
We were going to be
had
the spot. Yeah, the spot.
yeah,
The
the
spot.
spot.
The
The
spot.
spot. The spot was the original name because it kind of felt like this was a spot.
Yeah,
you know,
it
this was the.
It was the spot. It was the spot. But then it was taken. And I think it was taken by like 2 or 3 other podcasts out there. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah,
You know,
active.
'cause active podcast. Yeah,
Active podcast. Yeah, and since they were active, we decided to move on from those names because
I
of
think I
course,
recall the second one was gonna be compas, and then like a
Compass.
compass to where the conversation could go into any direction.
So the name was going to be Compass, right? And then like Miriam was saying, Compass as like the conversation could go anywhere. But then
Entre compas.
Entre Compass.
Yeah.
But when you sound it out loud, when we were saying like, "Hey guys, welcome back to Compass," like it just didn't fit.
It
the
wasn't
vibe.
catchy enough.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
It didn't fit the vibe. It was just it didn't fit with us, as like the things that we wanted to do. We knew that we want to have any kind of conversations and we want to bring people from all the corners, right? But it's just that name didn't really fit, and then we just let that go.
I think we voted that one out.
Yeah, we voted that one out.
That one got voted out. And then from there, we were jumping into abbreviations, letters, right?
Yeah.
Our first letter.
Yeah, we tried to do like because it's Tony, Miriam, Caesar, and Fire. We were trying to do like CFTM, like TFCM, like acronym for all. Welcome back to CFT. But it just didn't sit. We were not convinced with.
It was just hard.
It was just hard. Yeah, and then. We wanted to find something that it was relatable, and then that it was like new, and then all of a sudden we were at a
Birthday party.
At a birthday party,
Yeah.
you guys, Miriam and Faraon's mutual, and Tony as well,
Yeah.
mutual friend. And then all of a sudden we started talking. Faraon, Tony, and I started talking about, like, when are we gonna sit down and record and this and that, and then
we need to upload a video. We've been recording for like 3 months. We haven't uploaded a video, but we still had no name. So like, well, we need to come up with a name.
yeah.
So then that's when we're like, well, fuck, man, we're a new thing in Vegas. We're a new podcast. We're a new project. So 725. So like 725 is the new area code for Las Vegas. So hopefully we could grow like the 725 has grown in Vegas. So everybody ended up liking it. It sounded okay when we were walking into the podcast. So we stick with 725.
We had one bad comment about it. They were talking about Vegas is 702. But you know what? If you're from Cali, there's 818, there's 310. There's different area codes to every area, and this is just something new. So we're bringing up what's new here in Vegas, and that's a 725.
Yeah, and Tony and I were having a conversation about it the other day as well. That when we were the point about the name was for the introduction to be catchy, right? Because we try to like, hey guys, welcome back to the acronyms of the name, and it just didn't sit. Welcome back to another episode of the Compa. It just didn't sit, right? But welcome back to the 725 podcast. It just kind of it sounded
Smooth.
Right, smooth,
Yeah.
and then like Faraon and Tony were saying that it's a new area code in Vegas, and we wanna distinguish ourselves from it's already in place to something new, because we're a new channel, we're growing, and we just decided to go from the 725. And I think Faraon, you did the research on that as well, right?
Yeah, we had no podcast for the 725.
And that was the thing that made us decide to go from that, because other than it was a good name, but it was not taken, right?
There was a 702. There was a 702 podcast. There was a Las Vegas podcast. We had a Sin City podcast. We had a City of Light podcast.
Yeah.
24/7 or podcast.
Sin City.
A lot of
or like everything related to Vegas was taken. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, we just decided to start rolling, and we decided to start rolling, and then now we actually decided to finally drop episodes. But I want to get everybody's perspective, because this is something that's been on my mind. I want to get everybody's perspective on your opinion on how we uploaded our first episode. Not that it was a bad episode. It wasn't a bad episode. But even though we have been recorded for such a long time, I think that we kind of rushed it a little bit. Or starting with Tony, what do you think? Because you've been with us since the beginning, right? And then we needed to upload something. We were like, we need to upload, because people were asking, because we were posting on the stories.
Yeah,
and
we were
recording
going on social media, and everybody said, send the link.
Yeah, yeah.
We had no link.
One day I just
even think
decided
we had a channel yet.
Yeah, I remember that I was like, okay, I'm building the pages. Like, that's it. It's happening today. Like, I'm just going to build all the pages, and that's it. Because like we kept bouncing around and like delaying it. And I remember I was just like, okay, boom. And within 2 hours, like I had all of them up minus the YouTube, which Farah is handling. But yeah, I think we were just desperate to just get it going. But Tony, go ahead.
Well, I think because we had a lot of mutual friends that were like, hey, I see you guys recording, you guys are posting videos, you guys are, pictures and whatnot, but there's no, like, you guys don't have a channel. You
Yeah,
guys
where
don't
do we
have-
go watch it?
Like, like, they're asking me, like, hey, where can we watch it? Like, well, why you guys posting all these things and you guys don't post any videos or whatnot? So, but even though I think we might have rushed it from all the knowledge we were getting from all the other people that were trying to watch it and this and that, but even though we maybe rushed it, it was still a good episode.
Absolutely.
Like, honestly,
Yeah, I think that was the thing that we needed. I absolutely know, and for a fact that was the little push that we needed, because we were bringing guests into the podcast. I mean, we recorded with a couple guests before even having social medias and before even putting anything up. We were just doing stories. We were doing Instagram posts, and
you know what? Shout out to those guys, man, that were
Yeah.
believing in us, because
Yeah.
they knew we had nothing going on.
Yeah,
When
absolutely.
it came to
Yes.
followers,
Yeah.
or even platforms to upload, and then they sit down, they went along with it, and they were very supportive. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
they
Yes.
platicaron sus stories, and
Yeah.
And and they were excited about it.
was-
They were
yeah.
excited for us. So
Yeah.
shout out to you guys, man.
Thank you
Honestly.
everybody that has been a part of this journey with us, and thank you everybody that has been a past guest, and then of course the 3 episodes that we already have up. I mean, this is what we're improving with that all with time. It was a struggle at the beginning. We rewind a little bit because we were struggling with cables not reaching, smaller cables. This lens, it's a bad angle. It's not enough.
Static.
Static. Yeah, lighting more than anything, because we didn't realize how much lighting
matters.
It matters.
It matters.
It matters a lot. And then of course, dabbling into the camera settings as well. Because now we kind of had to match all the cameras to the same set. It was fun. It was good. And like Faraon was saying, like, shout outs to everybody that has been a part of the podcast and it's been a guest. And I hope that this podcast can get us more out there. And then of course, more people are interested in coming into the new, into a podcast and be a guest. Miriam, what do you think about, because more than anything, Miriam is the one that has more engagement I mean, of course, she's a woman. She has more engagement than all of us as in her socials, right?
Her social media is the biggest.
It's the biggest, right? So we used it. It kind of sounds a little messed up, right? But we used it as a tool to get more reach, to find some people to become guests of the podcast. But a lot of people that you were asking them to be a guest, they would always ask for the link, or like, where can you see it? And like, what was going through your mind? What were you telling
Well,
them?
I got frustrated. I just got over it and I was like, okay, I'm building it because it's not happening. So I took initiative and just built the pages. And it's not easy to grow. I'll tell you that. It hasn't been easy, but we're working on it. I think that I just want to thank you guys, each and every one of you individually, because everything happens for a reason. Right now we're doing this as an intro, and we started rushed with another episode, or a few of them actually. But knowing
we actually uploaded one yesterday. No, today. It went on YouTube
live.
today at 12:30, right?
Yeah, and then that's the episode where it was supposed to be the intro, and then we messed up the audio.
Yeah, the audio was
yeah, these
was
two
not
messed
the
it up.
best.
Yeah, so
Aren't you happy for that?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get at is that everything happens for a reason, and I love each of you as individuals, in a special way, and I just think that although, there may be agreements and disagreements along the way, it's a business, is how we're treating it. But at the same time, it's a hobby, and it's something that we're both loving. And we've had enough consistency on each of our parts, on the 4 of us. And I've seen you guys bond. And this is why right now, I think I believe that this right here is the beginning. Because all of you, I know all of you individually. I'm bonded with all of you. But between you guys, it took you guys a while to bond. And I don't think you guys have ever realized or put thought into that. But right now, I feel like you guys reached that peak point of bonding between the 3 of you
At least
Where
we got
now-
one believing in us already.
No, seriously.
And my
it
mom.
matters.
And my mom.
It matters.
Hey, my mom.
And
my
my-
mom
I can't
and our
stand
moms.
these two.
And our moms.
I can't stand you guys.
No, but yeah, I 100%.
You see where I'm
agree.
coming from?
Yeah, I 100%
Yeah.
agree with you with that, because it's just like, like Tony says, and then like Faraon says, this is kind of like our little therapy time. This is where we come and we
Y'all, these
just,
guys need therapy for real, though. No.
but this is where we come and talk about things, and this is where we come and have some time with us and for us, and then with other people, and then we like to make the other person or the guest feel comfortable.
Hey, no
And
somos
then-
alcohólicos anónimos, eh?
we can be, and then but
They might need to be.
but this is one of those things that you kind of it's part of the process. I think it's part of the podcast process that it's inevitable for us to not bond. When we're spending the sometimes. I mean, at the beginning of the podcast, we were
spend like
spending
11 hours.
11 hours,
Yeah,
like
literally.
11 hours
No la
trying to.
amanecíamos, like just trying to figure out wires.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then we have changed the setup a couple times, and I mean, ultimately,
Moved it around.
yeah, moved it around. Ultimately, this is kind of like the best for us at the moment. I mean, of course, the good thing about this whole thing is that I think we are ready enough to keep growing, and then we are actually thinking of like doing a little bit more other podcasts. Right now, it grew a little bit quick.
Yeah,
that we are actually producing other people's podcasts, which is something that never in a million years I thought that it was going to be possible. But it was possible, but not so quick to the point that it's happening right now, right?
It's very
Yeah.
tangible collectively.
Yeah.
Very tangible
For those that don't know, we're running our podcast together right here, which is the 725 podcast. We started with Caesar, his own personal podcast, which is
El Podcast con Cesar Flores.
Con Cesar Flores. Then we also running the Grizzly Show. That's my brother, man. He said you guys should look that one up too.
Shout out to Grizzly.
Shout out to
Big
Grizzly,
shout
man.
out.
You guys look that one up. Look that one up in our page. And then pretty soon, coming to Las Vegas.
A brand new
A
podcast.
brand new podcast, women's only opinion in town. Chismeando.
Yeah, let's give it a round of applause.
He makes it so
Yeah,
suspenseful.
no. It's good because we are venturing into I mean we're venturing into like producing more than just us four.
Yeah, like everybody wants to get their opinion. You see, I think it's a great idea because it's a place or space where women can express themselves with you.
And I know that the
Don't
name.
they do that normally already though?
Oh yeah,
And
the conversations that women have in public bathrooms, like
yeah,
right.
pretty much that's where it's aiming at. So, I mean, another thing I wanted to throw out there about the 725 podcast, like we're open to take, local people from Las Vegas or people from out of town, that wants to express themselves, share your opinion, tell us a story, or burn anybody. Like you want to come over here and talk on a microphone.
Quiere
You want to
quemar a
come
todo el
over
mundo.
here and give your word out there. We want to hear your story. We want to hear what you have to say. And we want to share it with the world. And it's just more content for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you are one of the persons that you always have something to say, but haven't really found a space or haven't really, you're concerned about what we were talking that, the judgment and then what people would say about you. I mean, at the end of the day, who really cares, right? You got to live your life. And if us as a collective podcast, we can give you that space, we're more than welcome to have you as a guest and then for you to share your story. But this brand new podcast that Miriam is going to do, Women's Only, explain to the audience why the podcast and how did it came about and why did you decided to finally do your own stuff?
So when you guys were all struggling with the name, when we were all struggling with the name for this podcast, I came up with that name like a long time ago. Like I was like, that's it, that's it. But I can't use that with you guys. Well, some of you guys. But I was like, I'm gonna do that
the
eventually.
fact that they were staring at me.
Yeah, all eyes on you. Dijo Tupac. No, but I came up with that with the Chichismeando name. And it sounds like it's gossip and drama, this and that. But really, I don't want it to be about that. I want it to be about, there's a lot of mothers out there with kids with autism. There's a lot of women that have gone through domestic violence, grief, things like that. I want something more into depth.
But what about the girls that are making it? What about those boss bitches, the empowered women,
the feminists?
Well,
yeah.
hay espacio para todo. So, like
what about those chicks, que se creen vato y piensan que en verdad las pueden?
Las buchonas, las 4x4,
Yeah, well, they're not invited.
You're all welcome. You're all welcome. Todas las exnovias de mis amigos, cáiganle, ¿no?
Well, no, except for them.
All of a sudden.
We'll do a separate podcast for that.
No, yeah. So I want it to be something more, like I was mentioning earlier, something more raw, not something, giving the projection of perfection. That's not what it is. There's people that go through weight loss, weight gain, how that affects women. I want to get into depth of, topics like that. And also if I can help, there's a lot of entrepreneur women, like you just mentioned. And if I can give them a platform to further grow their development, then that'd be great. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Is there any date in specific where you're planning to release this podcast, or is it still in the works?
Quite frankly, there is no date. Some of you, those who know me, know that I recently went through some medical conditions, and I was waiting to fully recover from that. And right now I'm pretty much almost there, but I want to start off with a guest that we bond well. I want a really good bonding, like I just mentioned for you guys. Not that you guys sucked in the beginning, but no, I want to start off with a hard, strong bond with whoever I record with.
Funny how she was the only one that laughed at the joke.
Yeah.
It's okay. I love you guys. No, but I want that. I want someone that I can like bond with well, and it can be a powerful start. That's what I'm waiting on.
Okay. So. Well, then hopefully you don't wait too long.
Yeah.
Because if not, then
El TikTok me va a dejar atrás.
Yeah. Yeah. So. This is pretty much to sum up how everything is coming, and then just I think we give them a little bit more than what to wait for and all that stuff. And then of course, other than this episode, of course, you guys stay tuned for the other ones that we have lined up already. Pretty good episodes as well, and hopefully for many more episodes in the future. Before we want to wrap it up. Does anybody want to say their perspective and, say something before we wrap this episode?
Yeah. We should probably introduce ourselves a little bit, like
Absolutely.
maybe say our name and a little bit about ourselves. I'll start first since I'm right here.
There we go.
So, hey guys, thank you for watching us. Thank you for staying to the end. My name is Faraon. I'm a local real estate agent here in Las Vegas with Ornelas Real Estate. Shout out to the branch. And, and now from the 725 podcast. Cesar?
Yeah, well, my name is Cesar Flores. We all here local. I'm a local as well from Vegas. Podcast, I would say podcaster. I would say,
influencer.
No, not at all.
Content creator.
Yeah. I could see how I could be a content creator and a podcaster for sure. I have my own podcast called Ed Podcast.
Motivational speaker.
Sure. Sometimes I do give some good talks, but you guys can find me at the Cesar Flores _10 on Instagram, and then of course I will link all the social medias. But local podcaster, and then of course you guys can follow my own podcast, El Podcast con Cesar Flores, and that's pretty much where I'm at right now.
Miriam.
Hey guys, my name is Miriam. You can find me on social medias under Mirish, MIRIS. And 5 H's.
Yes.
And
we'll link it.
There's a lot of Miriams, no? Yeah. I am looking forward to working with a lot of you guys on my future podcast and to keep growing this team. And Tony, take it away.
Well, I'm Tony. You can find me on Instagram as @tones_1. Shit. Honestly, right now, me pueden encontrar pisteando. Nah, I'm just playing. No, I work construction and everything, you know, pero también puedo promover ahí lo que quieran. Si quieren ir a pistear, díganme.
Échame un grito.
Échame un grito que...
Yeah.
Tony.
Absolutely.
Nah,
No,
So-
yeah. If you guys come into Las Vegas, you guys want to find a good club, a good table somewhere, just
Hit
reach
us
out
up.
to Tony.
Yeah, hit us up. Yeah. So, yeah, it was. This was a little introduction of the 725 podcast and the whole crew. We just kind of wanted you guys to get to know us a little bit more. We do plan to do some Q&As, videos, and stuff like that, so that way you guys can get to know us even deeper. And of course, whoever is interested in being a part of the podcast and a guest, you can reach us individually, or you can reach out the 725 page or TikTok or whatever you get the content from. If you guys have something to say, feel more welcome to just send us a message. And this was another episode of the 725. This was a wrap. Thank you,
725, guys.
Yeah, thank you everybody for staying at the end, and
Thank
hopefully
you,
you
thank
guys
you.
like this intro. So, yeah, wrap it up. 725 crew, out.
Share it like, guys.